Hello and welcome to the Coach's Cup. I am Sonya Green, your host, and today I have a very special guest. I forgot to change the view, so now you can see both of us. And Christy, I've thought about how to introduce you, and I thought about introducing you as my oldest friend, but that doesn't sound quite right. I definitely have friends older than you, but probably my longest. How's
Mm,
that? For
yes.
someone I've been friends for the longest. Christy Dunn, who has become a life coach. And so she's here to talk today about a little bit about the differences in the type of coaching we do. And I just want you all to meet her because I've thought she was wonderful for a few years at least.
Years since I think I was in fourth or fifth grade.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I was in third and you were in fourth or something like that. But
Mhm.
anyway, so tell us about yourself and what you do.
Okay. Well, thank you, first of all, for inviting me. I'm so honored to be here. This is very exciting. And you probably are my longest lifetime friend as well.
Yeah.
And so grateful that, even when we haven't seen each other in a very long time, we just pick right up where we left off. And that's what true friends are.
Exactly.
But I'm married to Frank. We've been married for 15 years, and we live on the Tennessee River in Huntsville, Alabama, actually. And I've been here since '06. And Frank is a retired engineer, and we built our dream house here, and we are just like I would say living our best life. And so I am also a coach, and I focus on Clifton Strengths. So all of my clients take their Clifton Strengths, depending on how deep they want to go. Some of them just want to dive into their top five. Some want to know about the entire report. But all of my clients do take that assessment. And then we just dig into it. And so it really, what I feel like is, I kind of explain it like we all have a garden planted inside us.
Hmm.
And so that garden has all of our strengths and our talents and our abilities. And so we have the amazing opportunity, or I have the amazing opportunity to work with people to cultivate those strengths and recognize where you may have a blind spot, or you do also have weaknesses. And if it's weakness, it's always going to be a weakness, and you just need to be aware of it and how to overcome it.
I love that. I think I shared when we were pre-gaming. Excuse me. I shared when we were pre-gaming that I had taken this assessment years ago at the university where I was teaching because we had all of our incoming freshmen take it and learn their strengths and weaknesses. And while I could definitely see how it was helpful for them learning about themselves as they entered this new chapter of their lives, I hadn't really thought about how you can use it just in the everyday.
Yeah, it affects everything that you do, not just your career, but how you function in your life. And I
Yeah.
feel like the more you know, the more confident you are, and it just helps you to overcome challenges.
Yeah. Can you give us maybe an example of something that you've worked with somebody on, help them? It could be a strength or a weakness, but show us how that works in the real world.
Absolutely. So, in particular, one of my clients, she has individualization at the top of her strengths, and individualization really helps you to see where other people are talented and help work with them and develop them. And so, what we realized is that she was in a job that was not allowing her to excel in that area. And so, pretty much immediately after we finished with her coaching sessions, she made a job change, and she's now in a position that she absolutely loves and is thriving in. So that is a great example of, using your, one of your greatest strengths. And your strengths are things that you do naturally. Sometimes you don't even think about doing it. I will also give you an example of a weakness. And I'll use myself as an example. My number 34 is adaptability. And so once I realized that, it totally made sense on why I do not like things to be like, I don't like a pop up, like, don't change your plan on me.
Uh-huh.
Last minute, like, give me a little heads up. Sometimes I don't do well with that, but it's been fun because my husband and I have, like, he is aware of that, and he'll say, okay, I need you to prepare yourself or something. And so, and I wouldn't even let him drive the car because I had to be in control. So that's something so crazy. It's like, that's so not healthy.
Yeah. I actually have heard of other people as far as the driving the car. I'm sure that I have never done that, but
Sure,
that
not.
that's funny because when with mine, I don't think I know what my weakness is
Mhm.
because we just did the top 5 strengths. But when you said adaptability, at first I was surprised knowing you because I see you as kind of a spontaneous person, but I can also see how that last minute thing
Yeah,
it's a little different than just not being spontaneous.
exactly. Yeah. I am a planner. I
Yeah.
could tell you what the calendar looks like for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And that drives some people crazy, but I'm like, I like to know what's happening. Gives me something to look forward to.
Yes. Yes. No, that's my husband and I, we had to have early on. In fact, when I was pregnant with Bennett, he was like, it's fine if we don't have a name. We'll figure it out when we're at the hospital. And I was like, oh, no, we won't. We know it's a boy and we are figuring out the name now. So
Adaptability not be low for you as
it
well.
might be. Although, like I said, I wouldn't have thought that with me either, but it could be because I'm also a planner. So, All right. So tell me, how is this different? Because we have, we live in a society where personality assessments are fun. We like to take them. Um, the Enneagram, lots of my students were really into the Enneagram. And finally, I started looking at it and figuring out what it was because they're always like, what's your number? What are you on the Enneagram? And Myers-Briggs, how is it different from those kinds of assessments?
So I really feel like with the Clifton Strengths, it's 177 statements or questions. And so I feel like it digs deeper into who you are at the core,
Mhm.
not just situational. It's just like who you truly are.
Okay.
One of the statistics that I love about Clifton Strengths that they put out there. They've had Clifton Strengths has been around for over 50 years, so tried and true. One of the statistics that I love is that the chances of two people having the same top 5 strengths in the same order is 1 in 33 million. And I don't think there's any other assessment that can say the same thing.
Yeah. No, no, because I mean, with Myers-Briggs, you might be a different, I'm an ISTJ. So you might have varying levels of that,
Yes.
but
Yes.
that really allows you to get into the nitty gritty.
Does. It does. And one of the reports that I love is called the Insight Strengths Insight Report. It is specific for each individual. It takes into account all of the strengths, all of the weaknesses. So even if you and I had the same top 5 strengths, it would say something completely different because of what the rest of the report says, how you rank with the others.
Yeah. And it also, if I may not be remembering this, it has been about 12 years, I think, since I took it. But does it allow you to answer like on a Likert scale on a continuum?
It
So,
is.
yeah, so your answer might be higher or lower than somebody else's, even if you have that strength.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huh. So tell me a little bit more about how it can help you change careers,
Mhm.
but you also, I think, work with teams some.
I
What do
do.
you use that? Do you use it with your teamwork?
Use it with the teamwork because understanding how your teammate functions can help you, it builds relationship. It can help you like idea exchange better. Just understanding what your teammates' strengths and weaknesses are. I think it just kind of helps the engagement. It helps the total environment of where you work.
Yeah.
Um, in fact, they say that employees who receive a like strengths-based development where they work, they have higher employee engagement, their increased performance, and there's lower attrition within the organization.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think so many times what I have seen as I'm working with teams is that people we project our own thoughts
Yeah.
onto other people. And
Yes.
so we make assumptions based on maybe our strengths or our weaknesses
Yes,
without even realizing it.
exactly. And even within our strengths, there is blind spots.
Mhm.
And we talk about, when you're on your balcony, this is your behaviors in your strengths, but you can also be in the basement. So, like, if you're in a bad frame of mind, you may be operating from your basement, which is not the best place for you to be operating from. So, what has put you in the basement, and how quickly can you get back up on the balcony?
Huh. So how does that work? Like, how do you help people with their blind spots?
So within the report, it will tell you like you may want to be aware of, like relator is my number one strength. And so one of the things with relators is sometimes, we can get in a clique. Like I might get with my friends and I don't want to let anybody else in because I'm so comfortable with the depth of those relationships. And so
Mhm.
it makes you aware that, hey, open up, be open. And I feel like I am, but I can also, like when I have, my group of friends, I just want to be with my group of friends.
Yeah. And
And
maybe if they want to bring somebody else in new, that might
yeah,
trigger you to feel
yeah,
threatened or something.
change the whole dynamic.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I don't necessarily like small talk. And so
Uh-huh.
it's forced me to have some small talk when I like to get to know people, like dig deep with people, ask probably questions I probably shouldn't ask. And some people are comfortable with that.
Yeah. So if they know ahead of time that you're that kind of person, or maybe not ahead of time, but if you dig through these together as a group, then that helps them maybe to lower their threat level.
Exactly. Exactly. Hmm.
That's interesting.
Yes.
So I'm going to put you on the spot because we dug up my results from 12 years ago. Is
Mhm.
there anything that just in looking at those, like, do you have to? I know that you spend time before you coach people on these, so I am really just asking you off the cuff. Feel free to say no. But is there anything that pops up that tells you things about me just based on that test?
So I am not surprised by your talk. And I do when I work with someone one on one or with a team, there's a lot of homework for them. There's also a
Mhm.
lot of behind the scenes homework for me as well, because based
Yes.
on the answer a question, you know how it is, it like brings up another question.
Yes.
So, I love that your number four is individualization, and you taught people, you saw potential in others, and you
Mm.
probably knew how to pull it out of them. And so what a great strength for anyone in the teaching profession to have in their top five.
Yeah. And as a coach, I mean that I can
Yeah.
honestly say that when I was thinking about changing careers, it's that working with people. I loved when students were getting ready to graduate, getting ready to move on to the next thing. They would come to me in tears, usually,
Yeah.
because they didn't know what to do. And I loved helping them on that journey. And that's what I wanted to continue in coaching. So,
And later is your number two. So you like to go deep with people too.
yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Not surprising at all.
Yeah.
And learner is your number five.
Yeah.
And so obviously,
Yes. I consider myself a lifelong learner.
yeah. And sometimes, we when you have learner in your top five in particular, sometimes it's just learning for the sake of learning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I really think that's one of the things that my husband hasn't done this, but
Mhm.
I feel like that's also probably in his top 5 because we are both always looking for new experiences, new things to learn. That's just something that really feeds our relationship.
So as you are learning things, do you take action steps to put what you're learning into like something into your life, or is it just learning for the sake of learning?
I can honestly say it's both. I mean,
Mhm.
there are things that we just, did you know? And we just like sharing those kinds of things with each other. But there are also, he will tell you that he hates to read. And,
Uh-huh.
as an English major, I love to read, but that man absolutely reads more than I do. He's reading all the time. It's just he's not reading a novel.
Right.
He's reading how to improve on something that he's trying to do. And whether it's, a new car that he's working on or a new old car that he's working on or a case that he's working on as a lawyer, he's constantly reading and trying to learn how to do something new.
Yeah.
So it's both.
Yeah. So he's putting it into action.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm the same way, in fact, I probably read more to put things into action now. I don't read as much for pleasure, but most of my learning is to, especially, with my career, pivoting as
Yes,
it has over the last couple of years. So
definitely. Yeah, we've all had to do a little bit of that.
we have. It's good, it's good because I think it's easy for me with technology to
Mhm.
say, "Oh, I can learn this and this," but technology, I'm getting too old to learn that, and we're really not. It just takes a little push sometimes.
Absolutely.
Is there anything as well, I wanna hear a little bit more about the basement versus the balcony and how you help people move.
Okay, let's see here. I'm going to pull out a little bit of information here. So
Okay,
I use you as an example.
sure.
So Sonia's number one strength is context.
Mhm,
Okay, so what it says about a balcony mentality for context would be has a robust historical frame of reference, learns lessons from the past,
mm,
knows how things came to be, and can leverage knowledge of the past. So that is balcony thoughts. Basement might be slow to move or to react to change, slow in both of those,
hmm.
close minded, and lives in the past.
Interesting,
Mhm.
because I would tell you that I don't live in the past at all. That's
But
interesting.
you're not living in the basement.
Okay, alright, but so in those moments when I get down, when I feel when something brings me down, whatever it is, then I can focus, I can get drawn into the past and that, "Why did I do that? Why did I can see that.
So when we are going specifically through the top five, I will let them know, this is what Clifton says about your balcony in your basement? Where do you find yourself most of the time? And what can in the basement? Let's identify that. And what steps can you take to get back to the balcony and prevent that from happening in the future? We all go to the balcony now and then. It's just a matter of when you get back up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, if I were coaching somebody, I would tell them you're choosing to be in the basement using your language there. So how are you going to choose a different thought to pull you back?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
It is. Yes, it is. I will also tell you a couple of blind spots for you to be aware of with context as your number one. Let me find. Believe it or not, I don't have all of these memorized.
Out of 177?
Yeah,
Christy, you're slipping.
I'm slipping. That is so true. So a blind spot, a potential blind spot might be that some people might think that you live in the past and are resistant to change. Again, that's about a basement.
Mm-hmm.
Consider explaining the value of understanding history and what has and has not worked in the past, and keep an open mind to new solutions. And you were just telling me before we got started about how you and Bryant taught a class.
Yeah.
On,
literature and the law.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's when I first saw the context, I understood. And I wonder, does that shift over time? Like you said that they don't like you to take it again because the first time's more true. But I wonder, because the whole concept of context has to do with the type of things that I taught and my theory of teaching. And I wonder, as I moved away from that, if one of those other 5 might be higher for me now because I spend more time in that.
You possibly do, like specifically like individualization.
Right.
And I would say you probably lean into those more.
So those can shift over time, but they probably won't change.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think maturity, you understand, even though you may not be aware that context was your number one strength, you, as you mature, you know how to use it in your day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, just coaching in itself, whether I have been coached by other people or I'm coaching other people, that's constantly keeping me in the present. Yeah. That's something that I work on a lot, is staying in the present. So
staying in the present. Yes.
Huh. Interesting.
And that's, speaking of staying in the present, my number 2 strength is futuristic. So I have to work on not always be thinking about what's next.
Yes.
I need to be intentional about being in the moment. So, and as a child, I remember teachers telling my parents, Christy can look right at you and not hear a word you're saying. Because I was daydreaming. I was thinking about, what to do after school or, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. Huh. I was getting ready to ask you something else and it just slipped my memory. But I can see you being futuristic. I mean, I think that's difficult for me as well. That one wasn't in my top 5. We share a few there, and I noticed you brought up.
Yes, actually, relator is my number 1, and that's it. Learner is number 11 for me.
Okay.
So I never really felt like I was, that would be a top strength, but even outside, probably up until about, 15, you lean on those a lot. The middle ones just kind of help to support, your top 10. And then when you start looking at the bottom, it's very good to be aware of what those bottom 5 are so that you know who to partner with when you know you're going to have to use that particular strength. It's not a strength. Who can I partner with that will help
Yeah.
to offset that? And what do I have in my top 10 that will help me with that?
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
So that can help you if you're having difficult conversations. It can help you at work in
Yes,
a variety of things. Who you want to spend your life with.
exactly. Yeah.
So tell us if somebody wants to find you, tell us where they can find you and what types of coaching you do, because that reminded me that you do a little bit of a lot of different kinds of coaching.
I do. I do. I started out only doing one-on-one coaching,
Mhm.
which I love that because it gives me the opportunity to get to know people and to grow individuals.
Mhm.
And a few months ago, I had a couple that had come to me and said, "Hey, would you go through this process with us as a coach or as a couple?" And I had not thought about that concept. But so what we did is, and I just kind of used them as a test because I'm like, I've never done this, let's try this out. So I worked with them individually and then I worked with them as a couple because I feel like you need to understand yourself better
Mhm.
before you can understand, your spouse. And it was amazing because it really helped them to appreciate each other more. And it also helped them to know how to communicate a little bit better and how they can put their strengths together and just like what a powerhouse couple you can be when you fully understand your
Yeah.
spouse. So I also work with couples, and I've just started going in and working with teams within organizations.
Yeah.
So, that's a lot of fun too, because again, if the team understands each other, you're way more productive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And couples are the ultimate teams, right?
That is the truth. Yes.
All
So
right.
I do have a website.
Yes.
Is awakenandaccelerate.com. And there's a lot of information there about Awaken. I call it Awaken because I feel like we all have these strengths within us. We just sometimes need to wake them up. So, and then we can accelerate them. And so there's a lot of information there, plus all of the different types of coaching that I offer.
Awesome.
You can also, book a discovery discussion. It's a 30-minute complimentary discussion with me to kind of figure out if we would work well together and what you want your next steps to be.
All right. This has been so fun. I've been wanting a chance to talk to you about this. We got to
Perfect,
make it work. Yeah.
perfect opportunity.
2 for the price of 1. All right. So I encourage you, if this seems like something that would be interesting to you, to get in touch with Christy. If you can't find her, if something, you've forgotten what the website was, then you can DM me and I'm happy to connect you. But I really appreciate you being on and telling us about this. And I've learned a little about myself as well.
Much. I enjoyed every minute of it.
If you're looking for coaching from me, you can find me at sonyagreencoaching.com. You can talk to us. Let us know what you think about this idea. Have you gone through the Clifton Strength Test? If so, then let us know on the Coaches Cup Podcast Facebook page. We'd like to hear how you've used that information to make decisions, to become the person you want to be. Let us know all the things.
Thank
All
you.
right. I'll see you next week.